Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content that we're going to talk about today is, fair warning, something that is really a nerve for me. It is a soft button because it has to do with our veterans. And Giffords.org, Evertown for Gun Safety, and the Brady Group, all gun controlling groups, have all decided that they need to take more gun rights from veterans because of mental incapacities, things like not balancing their checkbook. They should lose all of their 2A rights just because they can't do that, even though they gave up their rights, and in some cases their mental fortitude, in some cases their physical fortitude, in some cases the PTSD, the exposure, all the sacrifices they made for us. The gun control groups have decided that the way to repay that is to take away all their rights because they can't do simple things like balance checkbooks instead of giving them the help that they need. No, let's just take the rights away from them. I'm about to show you a letter that was just circulated pretty quietly from those three groups behind the scenes through the congressional record because they didn't like losing on this exact same thing a couple weeks ago or a month ago. So now they're trying something different. Check this out. Everything will be linked. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. And of course, hug and thank a veteran because they need it. Because these people are insufferable. I'm going to be honest with you. Check this out. No conjecture here. New from Giffords.org. House Republicans have advanced a bill that would increase veteran suicide. That's a pretty declarative statement. Wonder what they're talking about. Yep, they're talking about the exact same thing that they already lost on a couple months ago when they were trying to take veterans' gun rights without due process because they couldn't balance their checkbooks. That's what we're talking about. That's what qualified as mentally incompetent. So now it's a guaranteed it's going to cause more suicide for them to have the rights that they sacrificed for. Not we're going to help them, not we're going to donate money, not we're going to put all of our effort into helping people. No. They don't need to have their gun rights. We know what they did. They still don't. This is why the fight is so important, because these people, it's just disgusting. It's flat out. It's just disgusting. But let me show you this letter that they sent out. And this is from the press release. And then we're going to get to the letter. House GOP advances bill that would increase veteran suicide from May 1. So this was from yesterday. Giffords, the gun violence prevention group led by former Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords, condemned House Republicans for advancing the Veterans Second Amendment Protection Act out of the House Veteran Affairs Committee today. Does that sound like something that they should be condemned for? Yeah, it's not. Giffords and other gun safety groups submitted a letter to the committee opposing the bill. Ranking member Mark Takano submitted it for the congressional record. Here's the groups in question, and then I'm going to show you a few of the things they say in these letters. But again, this is all based on propaganda and dressing up the idea that guns should not be in the hands of veterans, the ones who have sacrificed the most for the rights amongst the population, because of things like, well, they can't really balance their checkbook, and that could be indicative of suicidal tendencies, and therefore they can't have their gun rights. That's what they're advocating for in this letter. Anyway, let's continue. Brady, United Against Gun Violence, Evertown for Gun Safety, Giffords.org. Look at all those watermarks and headlines, logos, all across the board. It must be so official. We write in strong opposition to H.R. 705, the Veterans Second Amendment Protection Act. By the way, sounds pretty good. This bill would eliminate the Department of Veterans Affairs' ability to transmit to the National Instant Criminal Background Check System, identifying information about beneficiaries who have been determined to be mentally incompetent due to injury or disease through clear and convincing medical evidence, individuals who are at a heightened risk to harm themselves or others. This legislation threatens public safety and weakens the background check system, one of the most important safeguards against gun violence. No, it doesn't do any of those things. What they want to do, and it's going to be mentioned here in a second, they wanted to take VA funds and they wanted to use it against our veterans and say, you can't have your gun rights, your guns will be seized, you're going to be reported to the NICS background check system, you can't buy guns ever again because you can't do things like balance your checkbook, you can't pay your rent on time. Things like that. I'm not making this up. We covered it ad nauseum when this was going down, and they took an L, which is why they're doing this letter, because they didn't like that L. So now they're writing little letters, and they're putting it in the congressional record after it's already been passed through the entire system. And it went out of the Veterans Affairs Committee. What they're trying to do is underhanded stuff to say, look what we did. That's what they're trying to do. Anyway, let's continue. I want to show you how this all ties together because, like I said, they did not like taking this L. So this is the letter that's the beneficiary, or at least not the right word. That's the outcome of the prior loss. Earlier this year, Congress passed as a part of the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2024, a provision that undermines the VA's ability to report beneficiaries to the NICS. That's what I'm talking about right there. The reporting of beneficiaries to NICS, members of the VA. Those would be veterans. This provision already prohibits the VA from using appropriated funds to report veterans determined to be mentally incompetent to NICS, absent a judicial order or finding of dangerousness. Advancing H.R. 705 would make this permanent without providing the VA with funds, resources, or even time to establish a process to obtain such an order or finding an order to transmit this critical information to the background check system. The big thing here, and the dirty little payoff, they don't want it to be permanent. That's it. They just said it right there. We want to be able to report all of our veterans that we think are mentally incompetent from anything from not balancing a checkbook, not paying your rent, missing a mortgage payment, missing a car payment, all things like that. That really is signs of mental incapacity. So they don't need gun rights. But let's not make it permanent. They don't even have a chance. Goodness gracious, let's not be hasty. This is coming from the people who put out gun control bills at 8 a.m. in the morning and expect the Congress to vote on it at 9 a.m. in the morning. The duplicitous nature of this is so gross. And I'll be honest with you, anytime you go near our veterans or the people who've served us for a greater good bigger than themselves at the risk of their own body, you get into a realm for me where there's like a flabby hunk of whale crap, and then you're like right down here. That's kind of where we get when this starts going. It's this and manipulating children. Those two things I don't like. But under the 21st Century Cures Act, enacted in 2016, there are 6 separate avenues for VA beneficiaries to challenge this determination, both pre and post deprivation of rights. Pre and post deprivation of rights. And seek relief from NICS reporting. So you can, after they took your gun rights away, you can pursue something to get them back. Does that sound familiar? Like something that rhymes with Schmid Schmagmaws? Yeah, it's red flag laws. That's exactly what they're doing, except against our veterans, utilizing the Veterans Affairs Bureau to come in here and use an executive bureaucracy to take away their rights. This is not right. The declarative statement of it will cause more veteran suicide is an abject lie that cannot be proven. But let's continue. While this due process is critical to ensure that beneficiaries are not unduly deprived of their rights, it is rarely used, so it's okay. We only infringed on 22,000 people right here, it says, but it's rarely used to say, oh, no, I need my guns back. That's the point. Make it as inconvenient as possible, so therefore no one even bothers with it. But let's continue. In fact, of over the 22,000 individuals reported to NICS by VA in 2022, only 135 beneficiaries sought to appeal. Of those, only 35 sought relief from NICS reporting. So, see guys, we took 22,000 gun rights from people, and only 135 of them sought to appeal. Does that make it okay that you took 22,000 people's rights? The answer is no. Man. Anyway, here's who wrote it, just to put it on record. Given the strong due process procedures in place and the unfortunate role that firearms play in veteran suicide, we urge the committee to reject this misguided legislation and not advance H.R. 705. Respectfully, Brady, Everytown for Gun Safety, and Giffords. I do find it fascinating, by the way, that March for Our Lives is not on there. If you aren't watching this as much as I watch this, if you aren't watching these videos every single night and watching the slow progression and march towards tyranny that the left, the gun controllers are trying to do to us, a consistent theme always pops up. You are looking at something where for the safety of the greater good and public safety, they will take any and all rights from any individual as long as they say, but you can get them back. It's perfectly fine. Red flag laws, the Veterans Affairs right here, taking the gun rights away from the actual veterans who can't do something like, again, balancing the checkbook and the finances. All of it has to do with infringement first at the request of public safety in order to be safe. But don't worry, those rights that we took from you without any sort of due process, you can always apply for them back. They are taking something that is yours. They are saying, but don't worry, we're taking it only temporarily. You can always apply for something that was already yours to begin with. They don't have the right to take your rights from you or from anybody and then go, but you can get them back if you follow the loops and hoops that we want you to jump through. Then we'll let you know in 6 months to 12 months. If that message were to permeate out into the population across the board and outside of guns, I think you'd see an outrage. But it's not mainline stuff. That's why we do the stuff that we do on this channel. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.